You're listening to the Roofing Company Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Grow Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another training episode. I'm super glad to be with you. In today's episode, we are going to talk about Google's local service ads. Interesting topic, lots of changes in 2024 that happened with LSA. Excited to share in 2025 about local service ads and kind of what's going on. So this is an educational course. We release training episodes. There's some bonuses in here, but basically I want to remind you, you can go back and start at episode number 1. I would encourage you to listen to these trainings in order, maybe a little bit better for you because it's going to kind of build upon itself. It started as a 12-part training course. We've added a few more episodes, one about AI, and then we're talking about a few other topics into 2025. We found a lot of people found it helpful. And so that we decided that we're going to create some more content and training for everyone. My name is Matt Law. I'm the CEO of a company called Grow Inc. We are a little marketing agency that works exclusively with service-based businesses. I say little, and it's kind of on purpose, right? We're not trying to be a big marketing agency. I've been in the world of marketing for a long time. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. Owned a service business. And as I owned that service business, I started doing Google Ads and learning all the stuff that you probably have tried to do yourself. This is back in 2001, 2002, started doing SEO in 2004, grew the company. And then in 2007, I launched a marketing agency and started to do digital marketing, SEO. And so I've been around Google Ads and SEO and all this stuff for a long, long time. And so Grow Inc. Is a little bit different. The agency model that's out there is like, hey, let's get as many clients as we can, do as little as we can, and charge as much as we can. At Grow Inc., I didn't really like the agency model. And so what we decided to do, my partner Jeff and I, we basically take on less clients. We do 10 times the amount of work for them so that they can actually see significant growth. So we have clients that have grown by 200, 300, 400% over the last few years. And it's encouraging for us. It's a holistic approach to marketing. It's all of the best practices of what we see work in small business and service businesses. And what's cool is that we measure everything, ROI and all that, so we can see what works and what doesn't. You can get our free book on our website, which gives you the marketing blueprint, all of those things. And you'll find you can do a lot less to actually win in marketing. On to today's episode, we're going to highlight everything that is LSA or local service ads. So if you don't know what LSA is or local service ads, let me explain. You may have seen in 2023, 2024, these green little boxes at the top that said Google Guaranteed. Well, that is local service ads. It's a platform that is connected to Google Ads that has a different user interface. It's a lot easier. And you can actually set up your company and connect your Google business profile to it. You can set up your hours, the services you want to be listed for, and set up a budget. And then they'll only charge you, supposedly, for valid leads. We'll talk about that a little bit in today's episode. But it's interesting that it's so easy to get set up, and you could do it probably very easily. Many times we talk to prospects about marketing, and one of the things they are doing is local service ads. And so they like it because the leads are expensive, but you only pay when you get a lead. That's what it's supposed to be. The leads can message you through the Google platform, or they can pick up the phone and call you. Google will give them a separate tracking number to call you. So in 2024, this LSA was not a big deal in say February or March, but by the summertime, it became a huge deal because it used to be this little square that said Google Guaranteed. And that was not a huge deal. But in 2024, they revamped it and gave these ads to the very top spot in search ahead of other Google ads. And as you can imagine, service businesses flocked to this, which made it more competitive, and it increased the costs and also increased Google's revenues. Google also did away with disputes. So you used to be able to dispute, say, hey, this isn't a valid lead. You can't do that anymore. Now you can only rate them, and they're using their AI to determine what is a lead or what's not. And so there's a lot of changes in this. And so back in early 2023 and 24, if a lead was bad, you could dispute it and you wouldn't be charged. As they've implemented their AI and they're listening to the call and deciphering the message and responses, based on that, then you're charged and you can rate each lead. But today we're going to dive into the podcast. I'm going to give you some pointers on setting up your local service ads if you haven't done that. Also going to tell you what we see working with local service ads. I think you'll find it very, very helpful. So first of all, local service ads are not good for every service business, but they're good for most of them. And it's worth giving it a test if you're not doing that. So basically, you want to just do a quick search on your Google profile. If you're logged into Google, you can click on it. We'll say something like advertise your business with us. And you can kind of see what services that you want to target. And so I don't want to dig into this too much because there's a lot of different industries that kind of we work with. But I will say that if it's a high ticket item and you're doing a search for that and you see other competitors with the Google Guaranteed up at the top, then there's a good chance that you could be listed there as well, right in your area. So the process for this is once you create a local service ad account, you have to go through some background checks. And so they're going to validate your insurance, your business license, and you have to go through all of this to become either Google screened or Google guaranteed. You'll get this little badge. It can take a few days, but it's usually pretty quick. And you're also going to have to upload your driver's license or ID so it can be verified. So how it's Google guaranteed or they're guaranteed is, hey, like you're a legit business, right? You're official, right? You got insurance. Once you have that done, you can optimize your profile and you can fill out all of your business details, your service areas and zip codes, and you can add photos and all of that. I wouldn't encourage you to omit certain zip codes that are low value jobs. So there may be an area you're like, oh man, I don't want to go there. You can omit those. And then you should limit their service hours to specific hours when you can answer the phone. So if they serve your ad and you don't pick up the phone, that is actually a big negative for your account. So you don't want to advertise when you're not going to be available. Additionally, you want to make sure that you're targeting the right services. So there's a lot of different things that you can select on that may not be related to your wheelhouse for business. So unselect those things. With LSA, it's a pay-per-lead situation. And so when you're starting out, we suggest maximizing the bids as high as open as it can be. And it may say something like thousands of dollars a month. Don't worry, you're probably not going to get that many leads right off the bat, but you can go in there, pause, and adjust things as you go. But you're going to get a good ROI on these leads for the most part. And we're going to talk about that in the podcast. So once you're kind of set up, what's kind of cool about local service ads as well is you can call Google, they'll walk you through things. It's a little bit different side. You think of all these technical guys and yeah, they are techie, but their local service ads is built for, service businesses. And it's a side of their business that's not super techie. Like the average users aren't techie. Even the user interface is kind of ugly and old. And what I find is that they are targeting service businesses, and they made this easy platform because they were struggling with the official Google Ads platform, which is a different platform altogether. It's connected, but way more complicated. So if you're ready to go, one thing to note is that you're going to need reviews. And if you have a Google business profile, you're going to connect those. And if you've got like a 3.5 review, then local service ads are not going to be for you because you got to have good reviews. And so I would say before you launch local service ads, you need to be at 4.7 to 4.8 before starting out. We make all of our clients be at that. All of our prospects, they have to be at least at that before we would take them on as a client, because if you have bad reviews, good marketing is not going to help. So how do you get reviews? Well, I would suggest follow up to past customers, people that you know, text them, ask them to leave you a review. You can get a link right from Google. Find friends and family who have worked with you as well, and you can get them to do a review. The only way to improve bad reviews, if Google won't remove them, is by adding new reviews. So if you're using a full marketing campaign, or maybe you got some automation campaign that you're working with emails, you can add a review as part of the automation. We do that for all of our clients anyway. So when they're closing out a project, they are getting more reviews as they go. One thing too is when people are looking at your reviews, it's important that you respond to every review and negative ones. So you want to thank the positive reviews and respond to the negative ones and try to work things out so that they're removed. I see a lot of negative reviews removed for our clients because they respond to them. And if someone's looking at your reviews and you respond to every single one, including the negative ones and positive ones, they're less likely to slam you. So you need to get your reviews up, because if you're up at the top, they're going to see your business and they're going to see, hey, you versus the next guy. And so you want to make sure your reviews are looking good. So let's talk about go live. You're live, you got good reviews, you're ready to go. How does it work? Well, Google has an algorithm where basically it's not fair. How do I say this? Most everything Google does is not fair. In Google Ads, the traditional platform, it's not a true bidding competition. So somebody could actually be getting a lower cost per lead than you are. They could be actually spending less per click and be at the top, and you could be 2 or 3 down and spending more per click and more per lead. And so there's a quality score given to advertisers, and it's based on how you use their best practices. And obviously Google's best practices are to keep people using Google search. They want people to keep using Google. So they want to show the most best accurate data and companies in their ads. And so the more happy the people are that are using Google, the more you are rewarded as an advertiser. So just keep that in mind. Ultimately, their goal is to keep people using Google and increase revenues. Those are summarize Google in a nutshell. So when you are getting leads through the system, if you do not respond to them right away, if they send a message, that's a negative thing. If people call and you don't answer the phone, hey, that's another negative as well. So when you turn on the Google local service ads, you have to answer your phone. It's good to have a dedicated person in the office answering. If you're also slow responding to messages, I will tell you, I see leads getting cut off. I also see that as you are quick to answer and respond and use everything, the more leads you will get. So I should say that you can rate leads. And this is another thing to ensure you get more. So some leads you're going to get are going to be just spam. They're telemarketers, they're salespeople, they're scammers, and they're calling to sell you on something. And it's so annoying, but you won't get charged for most of those leads. I should say you shouldn't get charged for any, but unfortunately you will get charged for some. Google's algorithm, you can update the lead and it will help train Google's algorithm. But they'll usually give you a credit for all the spam leads, but not always. Most of them, but not all of them. And so what you want to do is you want to rate them, and you also want to move them through Google's CRM. So inside of their CRM, this isn't your CRM, this is Google's. You can mark them as booked, or you can archive them as old leads. And so this way you're moving them in Google's system. And And what we've noticed is that it allows you to get more leads if Google sees you're using the system the way it's intended. So when you launch, you got to be ready for quick responses, right? You got to answer the phone. You got to rate people. You got to move them along the right path. And, if you do those things, what we've noticed is that you will get more leads. Sometimes when you launch a account, you won't get a lot. And we've had clients, new accounts that didn't get a lot. I've had accounts that were dormant that we took over that they didn't get anything for like a year. And then through some tweaking and changes and some modifications, they ended up getting more leads. And so I just want to encourage you, like, even if you start off slow, it's not a big deal. You just got to keep making changes, making tweaks, and then you will end up eventually getting some leads. But when you get those leads, make sure you manage them effectively and follow through with them all the way through request to review phase. So now that you've got some leads flowing through the system, then you've got to continue the modifications and tweak your budget. And let's talk a little bit about that. So one thing to do is, as you get leads turned on, and they'll come in groups, you may need to update your budget if you're getting too many leads. So sometimes you need to cut that down a little bit. You also want to start tracking your ROI. Now, it's easy to do in Google because you can see the leads that you were charged for. The reporting is really basic, but you can go in and you can see at the end of the month how many leads you got, how much you spent, and then what your return on investment would be. So if your leads feel kind of weak in some of the services you have checked off, it may be an area that you want to uncheck. So maybe you've got 3 or 4 services. You can cut off some of those and focus on the higher dollar services, which may be really, really helpful. Sometimes, though, you may have something like repairs as an option that you check, and you don't really want to do repairs, but you're like, hey, we can do them because you really want to sell something else, maybe a new or a bigger ticket item. And so what ends up happening is you can get repairs to convert. So you only want to check what you're willing to do, but you just need to keep in mind, sometimes people are going to call you and they're not necessarily, they may be a ideal customer and a lower cost for that. So the biggest thing with LSA, I do believe that they're usually great leads. They are definitely people searching, and your competitors are doing that, but they have to be optimized, and you've got to track your ROI, and you've got to get rid of junky services that are not converting. A couple of things I want to give you in regards to best practices for success. Number one, accuracy is key. So you better keep your local service ad updated, your Google profile updated to reflect any changes in your businesses or your hours. Changes will help you get calls and let Google know that you're interested in leads. So these little changes do that. Select the right services to attract high intent leads. This is absolutely the most important thing, to have the right service category selected. So you can get rid of repairs if you're not doing them, but sometimes having that repair checkbox will generate a lot of calls. Make sure you do a good job for your customers. Be customer focused for sure on all of these leads, more so than almost any other lead, because we want them to go through the system. We want to ask them for a review. It's going to help you get even more customers. And so I want to kind of give you a quick summary, and then I've got some questions that I think will be helpful to you. So some companies I've seen generate half of their leads and revenues through local service ads. And once you have them and working well and you start getting calls, if you manage it well, you'll get even more calls. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get more market share. So again, be sure to answer the phone and respond to these messages quickly. And if you're not getting calls yet, keep making tweaks to your profile until the phone rings. So let's talk about some common questions. So sometimes we set these up and the phone doesn't ring right away. Sometimes it does. It just depends on the competition, a number of different things. So if you set this up and you're like, why am I not getting calls or leads yet? So I want to bring that up. So sometimes it takes time. Remember, Google is only going to give leads to people who they believe will respond and answer the phone. So if you missed a couple calls, it's going to slow you down, at least for a little bit. Keep making changes to your account and you'll see more calls come in. Make sure you have everything optimized. You can adjust the hours, all of these things. But what I will tell you is the more you're in that account, the more checking, all of that, the more leads you're going to get. Sometimes just looking at the number of impressions each day, you'll see the leads increase. Once you get calls in the system, just make sure you're updating them in the CRM. That's Google's little online ad login place, and move them through that system, and Google will give you more. Remember that there's other competitors using the service, and if they do things wrong, you have a chance to increase in market share where they're lacking. So if you follow the best practices, you're going to get more leads. Another question I get is the cost per lead for LSA better than Google traditional ads? And this is a tough one because usually when you're launching local service ads and a Google ad account at the same time, which we do for most clients, LSA is going to be cheaper at first. And sometimes, I mean, these leads, let me give you a range, like $30 to $100, depending on the industry, the service, the location, the competition. So $100 per lead, you may like, hey, that's a lot. It may be a lot less. It may be 15, depending on where you're targeting. But what I will tell you is usually LSA are still cheaper than traditional Google ads at first. However, after Google ads, traditional ad accounts are optimized, then your LSA budget might be transferred over to Google ads. So we have some clients that we're seeing a lower cost per lead in traditional Google ads where we've moved their budget away from local service ads so they can get more leads. That said, local service ads are right at the top. I mean, this is like prime location. So your mileage may vary. So it's important to track your ROI for local service ads and Google ads. And it's going to take a few months to figure out, hey, where should I spend this money? For most clients, it's in both places. So if you're looking at your ads and you got it live and you're like, is this working? Another question you may have is, why is my phone number different on my ads? Like, why are they showing this different phone number? Google assigns a number on your ad so that they can track the phone calls you get and they can charge you for them. So remember, your local service ads are forwarded to your local number and you'll get a text and an email. If it's a message, your phone will ring if it's a call. So you want to make sure that you have all of that set up, but that's the reason why you're going to have a different phone number. So I think that's a pretty good summary on local service ads. It's definitely something service businesses should be doing. And it's also something that you can optimize. And sometimes when you're setting up marketing for yourself or you're setting up for a client as we are, it takes a little bit of time for Google's algorithm to catch on. It's one of those things that I've seen in 2025. And I want to kind of explain this for a second. So you see, there's a bunch of other marketers that are competitors, and Google is giving them a bunch of market share right now. They're giving them organics, they're giving them local, they're giving them ads, they're giving them local service. And a lot of these companies aren't managing their local service ads accounts the right way. They're not moving them through. They're not responding. They're not using what Google wants as their best practices. And so I just want to encourage you, if you follow the best practices, there comes a time that Google will say, hey, let's give them a few more. Let's give them a few more. And soon as your account rating, and this isn't in the system, you can't see this, but there's something in their algorithm, and I've seen this with clients, that says you're valid, then the floodgates open. And so I would just encourage you, like, this may be something that you poke your head into for a few minutes a day. Like with our clients, as they're getting activated and set up, we'll poke our heads in there, change a couple of things each day to try to let them know, hey, we are here, we're ready, send us some leads. And then we make sure our clients answer the phone or try to make sure they answer the phone and move the leads along the pipeline as they go. So yes, even when someone calls in, you can mark them as booked. You can move them through the pipeline. And so you want to follow that. And if you follow the best practices of marketing, then what's going to happen is you're going to get rewarded. And think about who your competition is, right? I mean, they may have been around a long time, but chances are good they're not a marketing techie like we're telling you to be, or like what we would be for your project. So hopefully you found this podcast really, really helpful. So with that said, I want to remind you that there's some awesome resources at Grow Inc. There's a ton of tools and resources. So we've got our marketing book and audio version. We got checklists and a marketing plan for you. Hopefully you find that helpful. If you're interested in learning more about working with us here at Grow Inc., you can go out and request those resources, fill out an application, and then we'll take a look at it and see if you'd be a good fit and schedule a time to chat with you. 2025 is going to be a great year for you. I appreciate you listening and hope you have a fantastic day. Take care now.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Grow Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.grow.inc. That's GRO.inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.